Hello, this is Gotta7, and today we're going to take a look at our decompilation project, and now we're going to actually start assembling it into Dol file. So this will be where we actually get to start working, because now we just have a bunch of assembly files, but we cannot recreate them into the original boot.dol. That's what we're trying to do now. So I'm just going to rename this to base.rom.dol. And I have a new stuff folder here, so let's take a look at some of the new stuff I have, and I'll open up another one of my tutorials. So here's some stuff I stole from the Battle for Bikini Bottom repo. You can see it over here, where I have a ASM a SHA-1 file, a Makefile, LD script, and some tools. Now all of this is pretty similar, except for this I got on my own. You're going to need to find this MetroWorks compiler. There's some stuff in there, but that's what we're going to use to link stuff together at the moment, and possibly compile it if it's compile your stuff if it's the right compiler. I'm not sure how to track down the right compilers for decompilation projects, but I'll make a video once I get a good process going for that. So anyways, in my new stuff folder, I'm going to put a link in the description. I also have this Dol Compare file that I made, and you'll see what that does soon. So first thing you're going to want to do is first just take our tools folder, put in here. It's pretty standard stuff. We're going to put these in our main decomp folder. Alright, so I can just delete that new stuff folder now. So now here's where we start editing. So we want to modify two things right now, the LD script and the Makefile. Oh, there's one thing I forgot to steal from the Battle for Bikini Bottom repo. Here we go, the one last thing I forgot to steal, the obj files.mk, and we're going to be editing that. First thing you want to do is take this text section, and we're going to just shorten it all the way until it's just sm/text.o. Alright, save that, and what we're going to do is actually match it up with our sections. So we have our init, we don't have extab, so we're going to remove those. Well, no, you would think you would remove those, but we actually need a placeholder. So now we go to text, ctours, detours, ro data. Nope, we don't need 3 of those. We just need ctours, detours, row data all in one file, because our one is weird, but obviously it depends on your setup. Sometimes you'll need them, sometimes you're not, and if you have a weird setup like me, you'll completely remove it and turn it into that. It just depends on your decompilation project. Next we have data. Yep, we have that, BSS, SData, SBSS, SData2, but we do not have SBSS2 in our case, so we'll remove that. All I'm doing is stuff that's specific to me. Do whatever is for you. And we don't need all this stuff, so just that. In case you didn't realize, the backslash here means it continues on another line. So just remove that. Our platform is going to be GameCube. At least in our case. It might be Wii for your case, I'm not sure. Usually if as BSS2, then you use the Wii. If it doesn't have SSBS2, usually you use GC. Once again, it all depends. Alright, this looks fine. And I'm going to call this crash.map, doesn't matter what you name it. Alright, so now we have all these O files. But if you remember, I renamed this to ctours, detours, ro data, O files. Yep. So I can just remove that. Then do that. And then remove that SSBS2 completely. And there we are. So we're just going to basically try and get this to link. So let's see some things that we also need to change here. When we go for the Makefile, blah blah blah, we can't do that, so we're just going to comment that out until we can do something with it. And with the C flags, we don't have any C++ files, so we'll remove that for now. Okay, now we need elf to decide what sections we have. Well, if you remember the sections we have for our game, we have first the init at 0, so 0, 1, then this would be 2, then we go into the .data, hang on, let me get the list, yep, then we go to .data, so 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then sdata is 5, and SSBSS is 6 in our case. 5, 6. Again, I'm not counting the EX tab here. If you have EX tab, then you'd be counting it. And about the EX tab, it actually only exists if you're using C++, I believe. So now, let's change that. Let's call this crash wc.sha1. But how do we get this, our SHA-1 hash? What we actually do is we go here and we'll take this, let's do a SHA-1 sum, and then we're going to do base rom.dol. We copy this, so we do this, place our hash, and there we go. That's our new hash. I'm going to call this crash wc, like the Makefile says. And let's see what else needs to go through changing. So far, it's all looking good. Okay, so now what we try and do is run make. And we are having some problems. First of all, extab.s and extab index. We need to insert new lines to tell the thing, otherwise we'll get annoying messages. And we can see it's not liking our .text file, or .text section. And we have some unrecognized opcodes as well. And we just need to go through this to see what it's finding. So if we go to the line it specifies on here, then you can clearly see that this shouldn't be here. Now there's two ways you can kind of solve this. Either you can copy and paste these bytes to a bin file. So let me show you this solution. Copy and paste these bytes. And I'm going to save this as desktop tutorial dummy.bin. And we can just import this in Ghidra. Where is it? Dummy.bin. Where is it? Change it from, you need to change it to raw binary, and then go to Gecko Broadway, hit OK, and then import it. Do not analyze it, and hit D to disassemble. And you can see this is our actual instruction here. So we have PSQ ST F9 0x 290, or in this case it's actually 656 R3 0 QR0. And you can actually figure this out on your own because they follow a pattern here. You can see these increment by 8, and so the unknown instructions are pretty easy to solve without using Ghidra to help us. So change that to 16, 12, 20, 44, have a bit more here, 23, 24, 68, and 76. And let's yep, add 8 to that, and that matches. Oh, almost put the wrong number there. That would be bad. 26 and 92. Almost done. 832 for F1. Alright, now let's try making it. You can see we have less that's going wrong here. Like, don't get me wrong, there's still things going wrong, but let's see what it is. Well, the thing is, this should be an signed value, but we're passing in unsigned, and if you were to take a value like this and put it in here, make sure we're in big endian, you can see that in 16 is -1. So what you can actually do here is put in -1. Now this number is a bit different, but just paste it in here, and you can see that it's -60. And yeah, we eventually got it to do stuff, but we didn't get too far, and that's because we never touched this linker script. See, we need to modify this first to, usually you would keep it like this to force the EX tab, but we don't want the EX tab, so we're just going to call them the original names and remove the underscores, and now we won't have the EX tab. Because normally what you do to get the X tab present is you do EX tab underscore without the dot and then do that force files at the end, but we are not doing that. So now we need to mess with a bunch of stuff here. First of all, we can get rid of that, and we do .ctors, detours, ro data, and we do .data. We don't need we're going to keep the SBSS2 there, despite us not really using it, and that's kind of because this stuff uses it. Now we also want to look into our .init section, and you see this address right here. This is the start, so this is what you would put here, and our arena hop. And yeah, if we look in our Makefile, we can see we'd never call that ctors, detours, ro data. It's important to rename the O names as well. So let's try again. And we get a linker here, which we use this label in init.o, but it's not defined. And let's take a wild guess and assume it's in the text section. Oh, didn't mean to do that. Section. Alright, so yeah, what we need to do is make it global by doing this, then that. Try it again. And while it was able to build, something is wrong here. So let's take a look here. Okay, so if now we need to run Dol Compare, in my case /Dol Dol Compare.exe, since I'm on Windows subsystem for Linux, and then I'm going to do base rom.dol, then main.dol. You can see that so far the text and data sections count. That's good. That means we have all the sections we need, but things go wrong when we start looking at the BSS size, because it's not okay. And of course all our sizes are matching up, which is great. That's what we want. But since our BSS is off, that's throwing everything else off. And if you look at the size, for main.dol is actually double the size, which is pretty insane. What about this? This is suspiciously big. So if we go to this label in Ghidra, what do we get? Well, first let's go to the whole ELF. And we're not getting any results. Okay, what if we go to the one before it? You can see that there's some values here, and then there's another at 224, and there's actually more than what's meeting the eye here. So I'm going to change this from 14 to the proper size. Instead of 48, I'm going to change that to 30. And I'm going to change this 44 to... Now obviously you would want to go ahead and label all the proper variables, but I'm just going to go ahead and say this is the proper size of C. Right, so C, and let's see how that does. So we're going to make, and it doesn't like that because we like that label. So I'm going to make another label for the 50, and that's going to be C big. And then to get rid of that one last error, I'm just going to try doing something like this and see, make a random byte with 4, and let's see if it likes that. Ooh, we're closer, but still pretty far, as our size for the BSS is different. And if we confirm this with the Dol Compare, then yeah, the only thing that doesn't match is our BSS size. One trick you can do is actually playing around with the sizes here. So in another disassembly it uses this size, so we can try using this one instead. And I believe the arena high is actually this addressed in this case. So let's try that out and see if that makes any difference. And if we try making, it fails. The X tab actually should not be included in this. So I'm just going to remove the EX tab and see if that does anything. So let's try it. Well, first make.exe clean, then make.exe. And it's okay now. And that means it matches perfectly. And if we use Dol Compare, you can see that's all okay. So yeah, now we got our decomp set up. Now maybe we can try removing our EX tab. So if we go rid of that and remove EX tab altogether, try compiling. You can see it still works just fine. So again, just a little bit of cleanup here. just insert a new line so the compiler doesn't yell at you. And yeah, that should be it. I hope you guys enjoyed this tutorial on how to get everything assembling, and I'll see you all later.